podcast. My name is Andrew Grayson, your host, as ever. And if you can tell by the joy in my voice, are we doing this on film?
We are doing this on film.
Well, if you can tell from the joy on my face, we are talking about Marvel. Yes, we are here to talk about Disney Plus's Daredevil Born Again, and joining me into the wonderful world of all things MCU, he is the smelliest of takes. It's the Iceman, baby Boone. Joseph Boone.
It's a pleasure to be here, Andrew, but please don't comment on my smelly takes just yet.
It's the smelliest of smelly takes. He is the smackiest of smacks. He is Polly Smack. Paul Stirrett.
Smacky to be here, smacking here on video and audio. Thank you very much.
And he's the triple barrel man. He is the fearless leader. He is Craig Andrew Mooney.
Hello.
So it has been a rather lively afternoon. We've been getting everything sorted. We're trying new ways of recording and all this kind of stuff, and it went well. Apart from one person, and we would like you to comment in the comments below. What one person do you think fucked this up the most? Is it me, Andrew Grayson? Is it B, Joseph Boone? Is it C, Craig Andrew Mooney? Or is it D, Paul Stirrett? So yes, boys, we are here. We're going to talk about the MCU. Hopefully I'll have Vash jump in and out as well. Rich is going to come in. He's had a wee bit of trouble getting to see the show, but I think he's going to catch up very, very soon. So, for our lovely listeners and viewers, this is the opening episode of our podcast on Daredevil Born Again. So we will be talking about all 4 episodes that have been released so far. So episode 1, 2, 3 and 4. We will give our top thoughts, non-spoiler thoughts on what we thought so far of the series, and then we will give you a lovely big spoiler warning and get into the nitty-gritty details, all spoilerific, of what has been happening in these episodes. So, before we get into Daredevil Born Again, let's have a quick chat about Daredevil Netflix series. Obviously, we've kind of spoken when we've been doing things like the catch-up and stuff about who's been watching what, but just give me a quick take on what you think, and when was the last time you kind of watched Daredevil Netflix. Let's start with Paul for a change.
Ooh, it was a long time ago, and I've not watched it to keep up with the current series, but I have a very fond memory of all 3 seasons. Season 1, a bit of a slower burn, but very, gritty. Season 2 deals a lot with the hand, but I really liked Elektra and all of that, because that was a big thing growing up. So I think Elektra's really good, actually, in the second series, and a bit in the Defenders. But season 3 is actually, it's maybe the sleeper best season of the lot, because it's just got that amazing prison fight, Fisk, Bullseye, it's crazy good, and all of them just so hard hitting, and an amazing series, just not fettered by the rest of the Marvel machine. You know, it's just its own thing. It's its own thing.
Craig,
I like
what
it.
about you, mate? What's your history with Daredevil Netflix series?
Oh, I loved it when it was back in. That was one of the best things I think Marvel did at that time in the MCU. From it was actually technically wasn't even the MCU. It was kind of weird.
It was in that
we
weird middle
connecting
ground. Yeah, it was in that weird middle ground, but it was
TVs and
we're
movies.
kinda in the MCU, but we're not really in the MCU.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It was,
Remember that
kind of thing.
it was actually even more connected to Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. was forgotten about. I don't know what they did.
It shouldn't have been. It was great.
I liked Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And also we have our very own Leo Fisk. We've got a Leo Fisk right here. All right, we've got a Leo Fisk
Fitz.
Fitz.
Not Fisk.
I don't know about. Wait a minute, it's just something just to point out. Did anybody else notice that Craig did this as if Joseph was definitely up here, but on my screen he's on the complete opposite side? So it'll be a nice wee surprise.
It's a learning process. It's a learning process. All right, we're gonna get this eventually. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah. So Daredevil.
Hit the windy.
Yeah. So Daredevil, fantastic show at the time. Loved it. I actually rewatched the first seasons 1 and 2 last year when I found out that this was coming back. Obviously, with Born Again. Haven't watched season 3 because I forgot that it was the best one, and I need to go back and watch it. I think because you were banging on about it, Andrew, and Paul said it as well. So I think I definitely need to go back and maybe watch that when I've got the time. Because Bullseye was great from what I can remember.
Yeah, Bullseye was. Joseph, what about you, mate?
pretty much parroting what everyone said. Like, the first season was really good. It was such a tonal change from like the other superhero films that we'd seen or any content like that. And of course, it was a massively different beast than the Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Hey,
which
I'm a defender of that film. The director's cut fixes everything in that film, and I will staunchly defend it. I will staunchly defend it.
Need to fix it. The first season, I thought was like a slow burn, but on retrospect, it hit all the notes it wants to hit. I thought season 2 was a little bit weaker. I wasn't overly, quite frankly, I wasn't overly enamored with Frank Castle when we were first introduced to him, but I think he grew on me as a character. I don't know, maybe I was still burned from John Bernthal's performance in The Walking Dead of just what a nasty bastard man he was.
Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Love that shit.
But same as you guys, season 3, holy shit, what a show.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
So I rewatched all 3 series, and I also watched The Defenders. Give that a miss. Don't bother with The Defenders. Craig, watch season 3. It doesn't matter that this is out now. Watch season 3. It's just great television. Yeah. It's so well done. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I can remember being a big fan. Wasn't as big about Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Iron Fist, and then I didn't watch The Defenders when it originally came out. But these 3 series, they still hold up. They're still as good. The performances are as great, and as Paul said, there's like so many iconic fight scenes within the within each of the series. With the highlight for me is the prison one in season 3. So it's fair to say that expectations are quite high for Daredevil Born Again. So we're going to get into this now. We're going to get into what we thought of it. We're going to get into non-spoiler first, and then we'll get into the details. So I'm going to do this review in a very different way, because it's been quite clear, because we've obviously been talking kind of week to week before we've had the chance to do this podcast. We've been talking week to week, our thoughts to each other. So as this is a show about one Matthew Murdoch, who is a wonderful lawyer, I am going to treat this as a court case. And you motherfuckers are the plaintiffs, and I am the defendant, because I am going to be the one that's defending this show and the MCU, because it's always fucking me defending the MCU. So, you guys can start. We'll start with Joseph. Where are you so far? 4 episodes in. How are you feeling? What's your kind of thoughts? You don't need to give it a score, but like, are you excited by it? Are you enjoying it? What's your thoughts on the first 4 episodes?
After the first 4 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, I could quite happily stop watching this show right now. There is nothing in it that's really doing anything for me. It just seems to be reminding me constantly of how good the Netflix version was. And I just kind of feel the ground it's retrodding doesn't need to be retrodden. And some of the action scenes, where we've barely got any so far, have been hampered with a lot of heavy-fisted cuts and editing that lose sight of what made the original show great. The long combat takes, just the intense physical demands that the actors were going through, and the very fine-tuned choreography. I don't feel it's as well honed in this version.
It's taking everything in my fucking energy not to interrupt there. Just to like go absolutely in, man. Like every bit.
Objection!
Honest to God, man. There was so many times I was like biting my lip, man. Paul, what about you, mate? 4 episodes in, what you thinking so far?
Gentlemen, I thank you for coming to me. As you know, I respect each and every one of you a great deal. And I would like to say that despite our differences, I would like to say that Daredevil Born Again has caught my attention. I actually have, surprisingly, been enjoying it.
Oh!
So far.
Yes!
And Joseph, may I say that your take, I may have to show you the proverbial door, so to speak, if you know
No,
what I
show
mean.
me the actual door, please. Slam my head in it. Do some action.
I do agree. There could be some more of that going on, but so far I've enjoyed quite a lot of the back and forth between the characters. Nothing has felt particularly out of place. So it's surprisingly, I think, well written, and I've been enjoying it thus far. That could easily change, however. It's on the precipice of a knife's edge, but so far, I don't have any major gripes with the show. Which
I like your Wilson Fisk. That was a good Wilson Fisk.
Thank you.
I'm disappointed it wasn't nearly Michael Caine enough for me. I really wanted more Michael Caine.
I was fully expecting to do like the Deep South. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, all the jury.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I wanted him to start
put it
with
to you.
I wanted him to start with his Kingpin and then just go, "This is your business." I just wanted. That's all I want. That's the only impression I want for Paul.
To add something else, I am enjoying the performances. I think the performances are very, very good. And the one that I am really enjoying more than I thought I would is Michael Gandolfini.
Smelly take.
And his character. What do you mean smelly take?
Smell is the takes, man. Honestly, that's
It's not
your
very
highlight
professional,
of the show.
Andrew.
Sorry,
As
again?
a defendant, this is not. It's not as a defence lawyer, Andrew. This is not very professional. Okay, well, save your time.
You think I'm getting paid for this? This is pro
You'll get
bono,
your time.
motherfucker. I can
You'll
say
get
what
your
I want. Craig, you're up next, mate. First 4 episodes. What do you think?
I mean, hey, I'm still in fucking shock here. Paul's got a positive opinion on a show. I mean, hey, that's the clip. That is the clip I was saying. You were going to clip things. Oh my god, it's going to go viral. Paul likes something.
By Marvel.
Yeah.
By Marvel.
Disney.
Fucking hell.
Marvel. On the box. Tick tick.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm blowing a load over it, but it's
here he goes.
it's good.
Backtracking now.
Brother, your 5 out of 10 is our normal fucking 10 out of 10, mate. You don't like anything.
So it's weird actually. I'm kind of between the two. I don't know how to feel at this point in time. And mainly because I don't know how I feel about anything anymore. Because I mean, for the last 3 or 4 shows, I've thought one thing, and then Andrew's been right, and by the end of it, I don't know how to feel because I've now been positive. So, what does my opinion mean? I'm having an existential crisis about watching TV shows at the minute. I've got no idea what to do. So, at the minute, I'm genuinely, all jokes aside, I'm not quite sure what I think. I'm kind of reserving judgment a little bit on the show. There's elements that I have enjoyed. For example, I really enjoyed episode 3. But Joseph's also right. Joseph's also right. Joseph,
Make sure you are down here when you edit this together.
I'll just keep changing it.
Like Joseph is also right. I don't think there's been nearly enough action, fighting in this show. I think we've been. I know that the original show had that aspect to it as well, but I don't think the pacing's been quite right in terms of that so far. I think we've been far too much in like one avenue for what we've seen so far. I liked episode 3, but there's been too much of episode 3 across the whole season, I would say, in terms of what that episode was about. I wanted to see him getting the suit back on and kicking ass sooner than now. And that's my only criticism so far.
Don't rewatch season 3, mate. Don't rewatch season 3.
Well,
you don't deserve it.
I
for that smelly
understand.
take. You and Joseph, mate. Smelly takes. Right. I've held my tongue.
On you go.
Right. You're all
On you go.
Right. It is absolutely fantastic. And when we get into the spoiler territory, I'm going to go through it. But my case, right? I've actually wrote notes. That's how serious I'm taking this. I've actually.
Oh, wow.
It's going to. I'm going to come at this case on a 3-point plan, okay? I'm going to talk about story, I'm going to talk about tone, and I'm going to talk about characters. And there's another few things that I'm going to talk about that will kind of tie into all of those kind of things going forward. But, look, as someone, and again, I've said this to you as well, just recently rewatching the Netflix series, I feel as if you guys have got like nostalgia goggles on. You're remembering the prison fight, you're remembering the hallway fight, you're remembering the Frank Castle stuff. There's a lot of not nothing going on, but episode 3 going on in
There's a lot of courtroom drama and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of courtroom drama, and there's a lot of fucking...
Which I like.
There's a lot of certain characters that you might not necessarily not care about, but that aren't what you would want it to be the focus on in the first original series, right? And again, once we get into spoilers, it'll be a lot easier to kind of talk about what I'm trying to say here. In terms of what this has done to me, right? The one thing I will say, and it's not a negative, but it's what I would assume most people might perceive as to be a negative. It has the MCU shine on it. It doesn't seem as dark. It doesn't seem as gritty. It doesn't seem like the Netflix world. However, what I will say is this feels like what the MCU's Hell Kitchen would be. They are introducing stuff that obviously now it's now in the MCU officially. So you've got Thanos, the big blue alien. You've got there's things mentioned. So there's a medallion mentioned in this as if it's nothing. Whereas what we knew from the previous series and the Netflix stuff, it was very boots on the ground. It was very just like combat. Like saying that, Bullseye in the third season is pretty super powered, but like you get my point though. There is this kind of otherworldly aspect that's been introduced into this. You are reintroducing characters, not only the likes of Matt Murdock, who you're going right. This is the thing as well that you need to take into consideration. This was wrote. And the quote that I've seen recently is John Bernthal said no to coming back as Punisher because he didn't like what they were doing with the character, and now the tone is rewritten and reshifted and stuff like that. If you listen to the interviews with Charlie Cox, who utterly magnificent, he is for me up there with Iron Man and Wolverine. As I'm going, can't really see anybody playing this character again because Charlie Cox is so good at it. Vincent D'Onofrio is
He's
especially
a man.
especially after this week's episode, I'm like, oh, he's so fucking good, and he knows this character, and he knows what he's wanting to do with this character and stuff like that. It's introducing aspects that we might not like at the minute, but to me, I'm going, there's nothing that I'm going, I don't care about this. Even the stuff that Paul, I'm assuming, is going to love, and again, try not to spoil anything, the relationship stuff. Even now, I'm more interested in that after this week and stuff. To me, it's hitting everything. It's like, and again, the MCU is not usually dark in tone. The tone is really dark. The characters that they've introduced and reintroduced, I think, are hitting it out the park. The story is now starting to pick up pace, but there's a background story that we've been following along with these 4 episodes that I'm really enjoying and can't wait to see how it gets resolved. For me, the way I look at it, and again, I'm happy for you to kind of give your remarks back when we start getting to spoilers. There's nothing in this that makes me go, that's bad, so that's points off. Do you know what I mean? You might not have like a fucking
you're
10
coming
out
at
of
this
10.
from a very dogmatic view. I'm not saying it's a bad show. I'm just saying it's not interesting.
I disagree with that. I could not disagree with that one.
There's a few things that like I can. The performances are fantastic. As I said to you guys,
so
in
is
the
it
voice
the plot?
note,
Is it the
the
plot?
set design's gorgeous.
Is it the plot that you've got the issue with?
Yeah, it just kind of feels like the pacing's off on the plot. It feels like things are happening either too quickly or too slowly, or that things are happening that we should be seeing are happening off screen or after a scene finishes. It seems to me like, I think the best way to sum it up that I've been thinking about is they clearly have rewritten this show.
So what I would say is,
and I think it's suffering from
what I would say, just to interject there, sorry, is just the first episode. No, sorry, episodes 2 and 3 were not rewritten. That was it.
And they were stinky.
You're stinky.
They were stinky episodes.
No, you're stinky.
I would argue
it was not like that.
because of the reshoots, there has been obviously some jiggery pokery going on with, but this is so much more interesting than any Marvel series. So like the Scarlet Witch and WandaVision was interesting for a while, but you know, Hawkeye, Falcon, Winter Soldier, bloody Nick Fury, Loki, everything else has just been bleh. Like,
I somewhat agree with Paul apart from Loki.
This actually
Loki was a good show.
This actually has a plot, and it actually has things going on that are for an adult, you could say, to chew on, as opposed to, and I think it does actually have an 18+ rating still, does it not?
And I think it's tying in really well with real life stuff as well that they're touching on, which is why I disagree with the whole plot. Not having a plot or an incoherent plot. there has to be some sort of kind of leeway given in the sense of, right, there's been rewrites and they've changed and stuff like that around. But in terms of, for me, just like, I think the plot's really good. It's not fit. It's not. we're just under halfway. We get 2 episodes next week. We get episodes 5 and 6 next week, which I'm excited for. But as I say, to me, they're hitting the tone. They're hitting with the violence. Like, it's probably one of, if not the most violent thing I've seen the MCU do. I'd happily, again, viewers, listeners, let us know if there's something that you think's more violent than what we've seen, especially in episode 1. Yeah, to me, there's nothing like the characters, the acting, the performance. You mentioned it as well, Joseph. The set design. It looks like it looks like MCU, but it looks like a
that Hell's Kitchen version of it all.
Yeah.
It looks great, sounds great. It feels to me like they've got training wheels on, and it feels like the show's not going as far as it could go. It's for me, it's just not hitting the Netflix high.
At least I know where I know what defendant I am. Or sorry, what what's the other one? I said it earlier. Prosecutor?
Yeah, plaintiff.
Plaintiff. Yeah, I know what plaintiff I'm coming up after and how I'm going to tackle him. Right. I've had enough. It's now spoiler time. If you have not yet watched the first 4 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, now's the time to pause the podcast. Head on over to Disney Plus or wherever you watch your shows, and then come on back and hear what is going to be a rather heated argument, I believe, because I'm not having it. Right. I will put on to you. Where would you like to start out of the 3? Story, tone, characters.
Oh, can we start with characters and the biggest fucking mistake that they made in this entire revival?
Go for it.
Right. Okay, first, before you do this, I'm going to... Paul, don't forget what you said before what I'm about to reveal, right? You are enjoying this show.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Shit, I'm on yours.
So what's the biggest mistake?
I think their biggest mistake was killing off Foggy Nelson and making Karen Page go away.
Why, Foggy? Why?
Disagree more.
It's the heart of the show. I think for me, Foggy was Matt's moral compass in the original Netflix show. He is now gone, so Matt no longer has a moral compass. So why is he just being a lawyer? Why is he not going full Daredevil?
So here's my straight away. I've got what I believe to be a really good argument for that. Right, again, I've just binged these first 3 series in fucking 2 weeks, I think it was. There's only so many more times I could watch Foggy give it. Oh no, but the system will get. Fuck the system. I want Daredevil, right? And you're saying that Foggy's gone, so why wouldn't he just be Daredevil now? He's doing it in the memory. The one thing that they're doing with the Matt Murdock character that's really, really interesting, and again, I'm watching New Rockstars break this all down. He is not going into the church. He's not following what is his religious beliefs, but he is in himself. There was a scene in the episode 4 after he just... Oh, by the way, can we just talk about it? Fucking Matt Murdock, absolute shagger. Like, that guy's game is next level. And Charlie Cox...
Episode 4.
Oh my god. 4. See when he's chatting up the woman trying to get fucking community service or whatever it was that they were... that he was trying... I'm literally looking at Charlie Cox going, mate, like, fuck me, man. Like, what are you doing? He's so charismatic and he's so sexy as well, man. And again, that's coming from a straight guy. I'm going, Charlie Cox, mate, fucking calm it down, right? There's other guys about.
I mean, he's got an unfair advantage. He can hear heartbeats, so he knows what's working, he knows what isn't. He's
Charlie Cox can hear heartbeats.
All he needs to do is just tilt those glasses down a wee bit just so we can see the top of his blind eyes and just give it a wee smile, wee beard. And oh, Charlie Cox, man. Yes. The stuff with him being like religious and stuff like that, and again the conversation that he had with Frank in this episode where Frank's like, I think that the line for me to kind of go on what you said, Frank says the line about how he can still hear his son. He can hear his son in his head saying, "Fucking essentially kill them, Dad, do them," and that's what he resonates off. I don't think this is the last that we've seen of the actor that plays Foggy, and 2 reasons for it.
Yeah,
right. Reason number one.
I agree.
I know you're going to say he's going to come back.
Yeah.
But
reason number one. is we already had it in, I think it's season 3. It could be season 2. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. There's a bit where Matt talks to Kingpin in the previous series, but it's like a mental visualization of Kingpin. It's not actually Kingpin. I could see us doing that. The second one, which Paul's not gonna like, it was a lovely little Easter egg in episode 1. The address in which Foggy was killed in front of, the door number was, it was either 486 or 456, whatever the number was. The corresponding comic, Foggy fakes his death. So there is a slight tease that he might not be dead. I think he personally is dead, and I would prefer him to be dead. But I'm just saying there is this Easter egg where his death is faked. So that's a possibility.
There's more options than Foggy is alive and tells Matt to not do Daredevil stuff, and Foggy be dead so he can't stop Daredevil do things. I think it would have been far more interesting if, we thought Foggy was dead. Matt tries to kill Bullseye, or whatever the fuck his name was, and Foggy goes to Fisk. Foggy goes, "No, you're right. Like, we need to stop these vigilantes." I think that would have been a much more interesting dynamic to watch.
I
seeing
mean,
your friend go to the proverbial dark side.
He does pretty much try to kill Bullseye. He doesn't put all of his effort into it, but he throws him off a building. Like, it's only because Bullseye's tough as nails. And you hear the splat. I thought he was dead. I mean, it definitely makes you think he's dead until he coughs.
Even Karen's reaction. Karen, I think, had the reaction of she thought it was Matt that had been thrown off. And it's like she was scared to turn around and see who it was and stuff like that. And again, we will take just time just to talk about that opening, because, oh my days. Even from a technical standpoint as well, of how it was shot is fascinating. I watched the behind the scenes and stuff.
That whole opening scene is really cool, like the way he's, like
Paul,
it reminds.
I'm so glad you're here, mate. I'm so fucking glad you're here.
It felt so cool.
What's going on?
They're going up the
Smelly
stairs. He's
tape,
throwing stuff that's
shaking his
bouncing
head.
off. He's
They weren't going up the stairs. It was CGI doubles going up the stairs. They didn't actually do it.
and
No,
they
they
were
did.
throwing stuff. And it was
Did they? It
I've
looked
literally
heavily
watched the
doctored,
fucking.
man.
Oh mate, I'm telling you, I've watched the behind the scenes stuff. There is stuff
It
that
looked
is
pretty good.
CG'd, but there's stuff that they're maybe CGing over it. But Charlie Cox is doing the choreography in the behind the scenes. There is stuff that they might have had to kind of like sneak around, but there is a lot of the stuff is done by themselves, and stunt doubles as well. Because I think D'Onofrio's kind of spoken about how he would he used to always want to do his stunts, but now you've got guys that are in like stunt coordinators and stunt actors that are just so good at their job. He's like, no, you'll do this better, and I'll work in where I can and stuff like that. But to get back to the character stuff, right? I get what you're saying in terms of it might have been interesting, and again, I'm not a big fan of. Yeah, but they should have done this. Just accept what they did and appreciate what they did, and see where they do it and go where it goes, where it takes us. The thing I'm liking though is the plot. This is me kind of moving on to the plot, but it kind of ties into the whole character thing. The stuff that we were getting in this episode, where Matt was the character that he was defending, and he's like, "Oh, I want probation. I don't want 30 days," and it's played off as if he's just a chancer. But when he gets the explanation where he's like, "No, because the last time I get 30 days, I missed whatever it was, his appointment, and then I started losing out on just getting food, and I had to go and fucking grovel in the dumpsters, and so there was a day I wanted desserts, so I fucking went and took dessert." I love that they are justifying the fact that the system doesn't work. You've got people like Bullseye that got out and killed his friend. You've got people that like this guy that keeps reoffending because the system doesn't work for him. You've now got Fisk, who is and again, this is what I'm talking about, it's touching on real stuff. You've got Fisk, who is a convicted felon, now in a position of power, making decisions for these characters in real life. Everything that Foggy stood for and lived for. And again, it happened in season 3. The entirety of season 3 is Foggy going, no, we can do it. We can do it through the book. We'll do it by the book. We'll get it. It'll work. And it doesn't. It doesn't work.
Are you saying everything good died with Foggy? And now we're in a much more morally grey world.
But this is it. And again, you've even got stuff, even if you want to tie it into its entirety of the MCU, the whole plot of Civil War was Captain America going, you won't make the right decisions. You can't tell us what to do. We make the right decisions, and if you disagree with us, we just need to follow what you're doing. We've already seen the people in the government are in this world and in real life aren't doing what's best for people. Do you know what I mean?
And then the government fired back and said, "No, shut up. Watch me turn into Red Hulk." Ah!
But this is my point, though. Is like what they're setting up with Daredevil is he lost his friend and has turned back to doing what I imagine is in memory of Foggy. I'm not doing the Daredevil thing. I'm going to do it by the book. And you see it kind of in the conversation with Frank, with Punisher, where he's like, no, the system. And Frank again, John Bernthal. Oh my days, man, he's so fucking good as the Punisher.
I really like the scene in it's either episode 2 or 3 when I think it's 2 when he's just warned the rat, the victim of the crime of the 2 corrupt cops, to get out of there, and the corrupt cops arrive, and they're like, "I guess we're beating up or killing you now," and then. And he ends up, he's like, "You don't want to do this, look, back off." And then he ends up fighting and beating the shit out of them. And it just, right at the end of the episode, it's just like, it's finally, a lot of it's just coming out, like probably grief from Foggy and just being Daredevil again. And he just screams.
Again, though, it's another callback to the previous series, which I fucking love. There's a point where Fisk does that a lot, where he just gives this visceral fucking everything out of him scream. And he teaches Bullseye that as well. And he's like, if things don't go the way you want it, find a room and just let this out. And it works. And there's 2 or 3 times that happens with Bullseye in the 3rd season. So to see Matt get to a point where, I don't know about you guys, but when I was watching that, I was like, oh, well, he's definitely just killed those guys. Like, because
what I like, and this was my problem with Ahsoka in a lot of ways, was that it feels like these are the same characters from season 3, but a few years on. They've learned, Matt's trying to hold back, he's trying to not be Daredevil. Fisk is Mayor, and he's actually trying to do stuff, but he's still got some Fisk tendencies. But whereas with Ahsoka, and this was my fear with this series, it was like you had a character like Sabine, who we had a whole series on, and now it was like she was back to being season 1, episode 1 Sabine, where I'm just a teenage rebel, and I'm not going to listen to you, and I can feel the Force no matter what I do. And just the previous seasons of development was just gone. My Sabine's as good as my
I was about to say, recast Sabine. But yeah, again,
one thing I did really like about the episode was the introduction of Wilson Fisk, that lovely camera angle of him being inverted, and that sweeping shot of him coming up, and the call back to all the times he's just constantly eating. It's weird and creepy.
It's not creepy.
Eating and talking about his childhood, and that is the character.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. So for me, the characters to me have evolved into what I would like to see from them. So this idea that Fisk, and again, it's even the point where Fisk talked about his main thing is obviously the vigilantes. He doesn't want vigilantes. I think he's the one that's ordered the hit on White Tiger in episode 3, at the end of episode 3.
There is absolutely no proof that Wilson Fisk is involved with the murder of White Tiger. Thank you very much.
Oh, there will be proof.
If you are defending Daredevil, I am Fisk's attorney here.
I'm not coming at Fisk. I want Fisk to be this guy. But the moment that he mentioned, he's like, people wearing a spider suit, I was like, oh, fucking Spider-Man's in the universe. Yes, this is what we need. Sony's fucking that up and all, man, because Sony will not actually fucking get it unless it's in an Avengers film, which I'm fuming about. But yeah, to me, you're not going to like this take. Karen is an awful character. I absolutely fucking hate Karen. I think she's the worst thing about the scene. No, not the performance and not the actor. I think the choices that she makes throughout the first 3 series to then be so fucking judgmental and high horsey to the other characters, I'm like, I do not like you. So fucking enjoy San Francisco. Give Ant-Man a high five for me. I don't care. Get her to fuck. And I think as well, if you're redoing this, episode 1, let's just talk about the opening of episode 1, right? Whether you like it or not, the decision of killing off Foggy, as impactful Starskull are you beating that? Like, we get a hallway fight, we lose an iconic character that not only were we thinking that we weren't going to get in the series at all, we were then teased, oh, they're back, and now you're gone in 15 minutes. I was like, fucking hell. We find out that Daredevil's now no longer Batman because he's trying to, like I say, Paul, what you're saying, he didn't like forcefully try it, but he threw him off with the intention of death.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We got
He tried to kill him.
introduced to new characters, which again, I really like the new detective guy that's working for him as like a PI. I really like that character, and again, there's a lot of similar kind of stuff to the previous series it's with new characters.
Reminds me a lot actually of Mike from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah, I was getting that.
Yeah, that's a good shout. But yeah, to me, that opening, to go from when I pushed play and you see the three of them walk out and you're like, oh, we're fucking back. Yes. Like, and again, it's like I've just finished season 3, so it was like a continuation. I'm like, oh, here we go, brilliant. And then I want to talk about the technicalities of this, right? Because again, I'm in front of the camera, I'm not behind the camera, I'm an actor, I've never done anything like this. But cinematography wise, right? See the aspect ratio shot where it starts in kind of like letterbox almost, or whatever it is, 16, whatever it is.
Oh, is this when he's like using his
and then he hears, and then it zooms into the full screen.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so good. And then it kind of goes past them, and if you listen to viewers and to you guys, there is a behind the scenes thing where they talk about this, the directors, and they had like multiple cameras, so you can they zoom in on that camera to hear Foggy, but then they come back and it goes to the center camera and you see it, like, masterfully done, all done again in this one shot. It's up there, right? The prison one by far is the best.
Prison's great.
Daredevil fight. I think this is second.
What's the second
said
one?
The prison one. I would have said the hallway when he's still in his like.
That's
Black
the first
suit.
season.
Yeah.
What's the second?
That's my favorite one.
Rewatch season 3. Season 3, that prison fight is, mate, it's just everything going on and you don't know what's happening and how he's going to get out of it. It's so fucking good.
What's the second season one again? Is that the gang?
I assume it's.
Is it the gang fight?
Yeah, I think it's something with Elektra.
Yeah, I think.
What's his face with the big swingy?
There's a chain involved, I think.
Yeah.
there's a big episode of that. Yeah.
The warehouse.
Yeah.
But to me, this one, in its brutality and the way that it was shot, and then the ending of this one, I was like, this, like, the amount of knives hanging out of Daredevil. There's a point where Bullseye throws a fucking pool ball off an innocent bystander woman's head, and you're going, right, well, she's dead.
KO, just KO.
The fact,
right
again, the fact that it goes upstairs, which sounds silly, but like to me, that I'm going, I've never seen that before. You've always seen people kind of coming down and stuff. The only other time that I can imagine or think of an upstairs fight was Keanu Reeves in John Wick 4, which again was fantastic. But this was like a narrow hallway that kind of came round and shot. And then that moment where they have Daredevil being distracted by hearing Foggy's heartbeat, for it to ultimately him to not hear it, and then that performance from Charlie Cox, the moment he realizes his friend's dead, and he asks, and he's screaming at Bullseye, why would you do this? Why? And he just smiles and then throws him off the roof. I was like, fucking hell! Like that's your opening.
Yeah, you've immediately what I'd sort of heard maybe one of the big characters were gonna die straight away, and I was but it was actually something to completely change the dynamic from season 3. It gives you something new, and immediately we've seen Daredevil break his one rule. Tonight you're gonna break your one rule, and it threw him off the ledge. So it immediately we're starting from a point where we've not covered before. So I was actually in.
I remind you back to the episode of the catch-up. Make something new. We're not just treading over the same old ground. We might be hitting some of the same spots, but it's for different reasons. Get Karen to fuck. And R.I.P. Foggy. Like, I like Foggy. Foggy's a good character, but
I don't mind
impactful.
Karen. I don't mind Karen as she's a good character. She's a good sport.
I'm fine with them
She does
killing
D&D.
characters. I just think in the first 15 minutes it was too early. We needed to be reminded of that.
No.
I would have liked Bullseye to actually be dead when he hit the ground.
No, he's too good a character.
I think that.
No, he's too good a character. Plus the fact as well, I
Bullseye
can't remember
like
if
the
you...
most iconic Daredevil villain.
he's
Yeah, I know, but I think it would been interesting to kill him when he hits the ground. I'm
So,
not overly
you're-
versed in
you're-
Bullseye
well,
and-
this is what that's. I was
You're
about to
focused
say-
on killing the wrong character, I think, Joseph. Like,
Nah.
The thing about Bullseye though that I found out later after watching this is in the comics he actually gets adamantium. Now at the end of season 3, there's an after credit scene where there's like Fisk breaks his back in the series.
that's
He's getting surgery on his back, and then it focuses in on his eye, and there's like a metal ring round his eye. So I think they call it something like coralicium or something like that. It's adamantium, but it's not
Wait,
because
is
they
it the
can't
same
have
way
it.
he gets, like Wolverine has it, like his skeleton and shit?
Kind of. I don't know fully, but I did like read and watch a couple of videos where they spoke about that. But again, it's to me the performance from, I'm going to try and find his name if you don't already know it. I'm just throwing that at you, so you probably won't. The guy that plays Bullseye, who interestingly enough, Wilson Bethel is a phenomenal actor who auditioned to be Captain America, which I did not know.
See,
But-
I could see him being what's his face?
US agent.
US agent. I could see him being that if it wasn't was it Russell Wyatt
but
Yeah.
but is he
or Wyatt Russell?
Colin Firth with the indentation on his forehead?
Is that? Colin
Colin
Farrell,
Firth.
man. You can do it
Yeah,
all.
Colin Firth.
Penguin,
You
Bullseye.
can do it all.
Yeah,
Colin
Firth.
Farrell, mate.
No, it was Firth.
Colin Firth.
Did I say Colin?
Colin Firth.
It wasn't it. What?
No,
Oh,
Paul said
fuck,
Colin
yeah, it's
Firth.
Farrell.
He's got Bridget Jones on the brain. Always Bridget Jones on the brain.
Love Actually kidding on his Bullseye. So yeah, the other.
I'm terribly sorry about all this. sorry. The forehead bullseye.
The other thing we need to talk about episode 1 was the diner scene where it was just talking and it was just Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio as Matt and Kingpin. I loved it.
Your
Again,
heat.
it's
It
just-
was the
your heat
strongest
moment,
scene
yeah.
of the episode.
Yeah.
I felt it was like a very brilliantly shot, brilliantly written scene. Both of it was like it was clear. I think it might have been one of the first scenes they shot with how it seemed they just kind of slipped so comfortably back into those roles.
Well, it would have been. I don't know if it would have been the first because that was the rewrite episode.
No,
So
fair,
that
okay, yeah.
that would have been thing way. But yeah,
It
like,
was-
to me. Sorry, Paul, on you go.
It feels like it fits naturally because, as I said, my main concern with this was like this was going to feel like new characters for the MCU and not a continuation of the Netflix series. And it does just feel like it is a continuation. We've had a nice long break, and but it's these old adversaries like coming up against each other. They're in different places in their life, but they have like an understanding between each other. I do also appreciate, not that I've particularly watched or want to watch, not that it's against Vincent D'Onofrio at all, but of course Kingpin has turned up in Hawkeye and Echo and other terrible programs, and
Hawkeye's not bad.
basically they do cover that. I assume in one of these programs he gets shot in the head. And
Yes,
I know we've
so-
kind of covered that, but I do like that they go. He was here. He went away for a bit.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. So when I watched that, a quick rundown in Hawkeye, Echo shoots him point blank, and I went, if you just introduced him to kill him, but again in the comics that happens and he survives. In Echo, he gets some sort of, now this could come back. This is what I'd be interested in. I don't think it will, but it could. He gets some sort of implant eye where he can like sign language. He can read sign language, and it will come up and it will say it on his. Very similar to like Iron Man's Jarvis kind of thing. I don't think they will kind of crack on. What that scene did for me was obviously as we just got to enjoy those two characters and adversaries, and then obviously in real life just actor friends get to share that scene together. But it's as you say, Paul, they kind of make a joke. He's like, oh, I heard a relative shot you, and he's like, oh yes, never mind. And then it just gets kind of thrown away, and it's just like, right, cool, you've addressed it, let's crack on. Especially with Avengers Secret Wars and Avengers Doomsday going to essentially be a big reset button. Doesn't matter. Just fucking let's move on. It's a lovely scene. It's really intimate. It's just the acting is the thing that takes frame. There's in episode 1 you kind of get introduced. They've made Vanessa at least a wee bit more interesting than what she was, other than just Kingpin's bit on the side. Or well,
Vanessa throughout the series has always been an important Vanessa. She's always been an important Vanessa. Has always been an important part of his arc.
What character, Paul?
Vanessa.
That's him putting the heat in the door.
Yeah.
So, Paul, you were saying about Vanessa.
Basically, it's just that has been his arc, like through 3 seasons. Like he falls in love, and the people keep trying to come in between them, and now finally, what they've done, interestingly, is something has came in between them. He's had to go away for no reason, and Adam has came in between them, and Vanessa.
I don't think he was there for that, Paul. I think he was somewhere else.
No, Adam has came in between.
Yeah.
Not Alan. Not Alan the alien.
No, but he couldn't come in between them if Kingpin wasn't there. Is what
Kingpin's not
Finn's
there. He
not
can't
saying.
come in between.
You filth! You mongers of filth! And I am trying to make a point here, and you are bringing this whole podcast down.
Sorry, Paul.
Don't you debase Vanessa like that? Not Vanessa.
It was Alan.
So Alan, now, but Adam, yes, Adam has Vanessa has stepped outside the marriage with Adam because Fisk has went away, and they're going to therapy. They're sitting on the I love the shots where they're sitting on the couch together, and it's just imagining this super like powerful man just sitting on the couples counselling couch. I love it.
You're such a weird guy, Paul.
But then, of course, we were promised that Adam was not going to be killed, and Adam has not been killed, but there is a lot of room in between being killed and still wishing you were not alive. And I think Adam is finding that out. As, again, we mentioned, he eats his dinner in front of...
So
I didn't think the MCU would be bold enough to make Kingpin a cuck, but here we are, and...
he's definitely. I mean, I would be with you until I watched episode 4. I'd be with you in terms of who he was pretending to be. But after episode 4, that man ain't no cuck. Like, fuck me, man.
We've not seen it yet.
We've not seen it yet, but you never know. So we'll move on for episode 1. Episode 1 ends with a lovely shot where you see Kingpin has obviously became mayor and he's looking out over New York, and then we've got
nice.
Daredevil in the foreground looking back up at D'Onofrio, and you're just like, yeah, I can watch these two fight all fucking day. I can't wait. Episode 2, we get introduced to the White Tiger character, and we get what I kind of hoped we would get more of in She-Hulk. And it's what Daredevil does incredibly well, is that the lawyer stuff, like the courtroom battle stuff. Like, I don't know why I'm just as gripped on that stuff when that's going on as much as I am the violence. And again, to me, it's something that I'm going, that's just as important to get right from what it was for what they were doing in Netflix to now doing it on the MCU as the violence and the tone and all that. So to me, I was going, it's just another thing that they've done right.
Are you saying that the courtroom law office twerking was not an important part of She-Hulk?
Listen, mate, you'll never hear me ever tell a woman that she can't twerk. Right? If She-Hulk wants to twerk and that's how she did. Again, I'm not getting into this because there's been plenty of times where other male characters have danced. She-Hulk was what She-Hulk was. I don't think we'll see her
how was Daredevil
very
portrayed on that series? Was he portrayed rather favourably?
Tap Shagger in that one as well. Absolute Shagger in that one. But yeah, like, to me, episode 2, I think of all the episodes might have been maybe not the weakest episode, but just like that, you could tell that was the opening episode for the original stuff where you were getting introduced to, as I say, the the Mike type character that was his PI and all that kind of stuff. But the ending, like Craig, you'd kind of said to me after you watched the second episode, the ending of episode 2 really fucking brought you into what that series was. So talk to me about that.
So for me, just in general as well, I feel like so far the season's had moments, and there's been moments along the way in each episode where I've it's kept me interested. I want to keep watching, you know. And that for me, the end of episode 2, that was like one of the big moments for me when I was like, yes, okay, we're going somewhere here. Let's keep on this path if we can, because it was just so brutal again, which is what the show should be. I just loved Charlie Cox's performance in that scene where and Paul's already mentioned it, where he just goes, "You don't want to do this, okay?"
Well, I heard somebody say this. I think like somebody brought this up, and now I can't unthink of what this is. He's talking to himself. He's not talking to them.
Oh, that's cool.
He's talking to himself at that moment, because everything where he is just now is I can't and don't want to be Daredevil. And that's what to me that makes sense for what that scream is at the end, where he's like, fuck. And you even get it with this one in episode 4 where he punches Frank and the first thing he does is apologise, and it's not first so that he doesn't fight, it's because I'm not this guy. And even Frank's apologies, why are you apologising? That's the first honest thing that you've done in however long. So to me, when I heard someone say that's him speaking to himself, I'm like, oh, it's so... Boone has the smelliest takes.
The only like thing I will say about the show in terms of, because I know I half agree with Joseph when it comes to the story, but the only thing I think, well, story wise, that kind of like the character as well, that's actually worked so far is that there is this thematic through line for both Daredevil and Wilson Fisk, where they have the same character arc trajectory, whatever you want to call it. They're both fighting against their nature. They're fighting against who they really are, and that's what's going to come out at the end of this season at some point, and that's good. That's a big positive for the show. But I still think Joseph has a point when he says that there's not a lot going on plot wise as yet, and I do think he's got a point on that.
Where I'll disagree with that is where I was going to go with my next point. Is this whole so to me, and again, Paul, come in on this as well, because you've obviously said that you're kind of more in my boat in terms of the plot. The plot to me is this whole the whole world of New York just now is beyond corrupt, and the whole point of Foggy dying is to get put on to Matt, right, you need to do this by the book, and he's like, that's now his mentality because his friend died, and that's what his friend believed in. He says it to Frank, he's like, it doesn't matter how long it'll be, no one will ever reach the level of the integrity and the man that Foggy was. So everything that Matt is living for just now is in the memory of him. But you're just seeing everything, even the fact that, again, it's something that they did in the original series, that they did in this series, but they did it slightly differently, that I actually really enjoyed, was getting the person, the witness, to the courtroom to make a statement. But they did the decoy with the Mike character, and he came and attacked and stuff like that. Now, that was a big... Yeah, I know, I keep saying the Mike character. Wait a minute, let me get his actual name up, because that's really bad.
No, you're right, though.
That was a clunky moment in the first episode. I thought it was rather clunky, him finding out Matt was Daredevil.
I mean,
it felt... I think it was like a necessary evil bit to put in, so it explains why he's working with Matt and why he knows he's Daredevil.
I mean, I think it's
just kind of... It felt...
It's fairly straightforward. He's beaten Bullseye to a pulp, he's exhausted, and his friend's just died, so he doesn't really care about his identity anymore, you know. And then, like, you know, in that particular moment,
the emotional analysis, I just think it was done clunkily from, like,
you just don't like that first scene. You've complained about the fight, you've complained about the emotional, you've complained about Foggy. Stop your complaining, Joseph. I will not have this negativity on this podcast.
On. This is coming from Paul Stinnett.
I will not have this negativity.
I'm loving it.
You're bringing us all down. That's what you're doing.
I'm in absolute disbelief at how much backing I am getting for Paul, and I fucking love it. I can't find the other character's name.
Oh my god.
Am I sleeping at the moment? Am I falling in an alternative world where Paul Stinnett has a bone of positivity in his body? What's going on?
What? I came into the show just like the rest of yous. I came into the show wanting to hate it so bad, like, because I knew it was going to be terrible.
Makes me sad.
I wanted to hate it. Because I feel it. I feel it whenever I see a new Star Wars thing. I'm just like, you're not Star Wars. And then I was going to watch this,
so that's not
and I watched it, but it's made by Disney. And then I was like, actually, you know what? See, after that first episode, I don't feel like bad. I feel okay. I feel like I was interested in the contents of the thing I just watched. I might watch another, and then you know what? Next week I might watch another, and then so far I have enjoyed it. So there you have it.
I still can't find the name of this character, but you know who I'm talking about. The guy that
I've
helps
got
him, the PI.
I've got a positive outlook. The mic guy. That's what we'll call him.
Yeah, the mic
There we
guy.
go.
So again, I think I get what you're saying, Joseph, in the sense it seemed clunky, but again, that's something that I'm not focusing on that. I'm going, right, you need that character that is essentially, he's going to be going up against the police. So you need that guy that was a police, that is a good guy police, that's going to be on his side, but to be able to help him with these kind of things. And I'm fine with that because, again, it's another character that we had in the previous one, and they've just recast and they've went this new route with this character. But yeah, like, to me, the fact that that's kind of surrounding the whole theme of this is we need to have a reason to bring Daredevil back, and we're getting that in the fact that the judicial system won't work. And not only the judicial system won't work, we're now at a point in episode 4 where we think that the guy who is now in charge, or not in charge, there's people talking about him going for president. I would love to see Wilson Fisk as the president in this MCU. And it could happen now after obviously what happens in Captain America. The stuff that's happening in New York is now led by a guy who was a previously convicted felon, is now in charge, and he's a new guy. He's not the same guy as he was. He wants the best for New York. But at the end of episode 4, he's got a guy chained up in a cage. Like, this is what's going to bring Daredevil back, and this is what's going to have what we're going to have the original Wilson Fisk. So to me, everything is plot. And again, even the smaller moments that I talked about, the guy eating out the bin. The system doesn't work. We need Daredevil. We need these vigilantes. We need Spider-Man. We need the White Tiger.
Are we saying that the moment where he has Adam in a cage is a Kingpin moment?
It's a kingpin.
A Kingpin. Are we saying that like that's a? All right. Okay. Sorry. No, I just had.
How are you not?
Well, I just had it as a Fisk Vanessa thing.
That's supposed to be Adam, the guy in the cage.
Yeah, of course it is. That's the famous Adam. It's not just some guy.
Do you think Vanessa's in on it?
No, I don't think. No.
All right, just because you were saying is it a Vanessa?
No, I think it's a separate. I think it's a Wilson Fisk thing. I don't think it's a Kingpin thing. I think it's.
I see what Paul means. You see,
I get
like
what you
personal,
mean.
Personal rather than like Kingpin. Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, so that, like, to me, that's Fisk being Fisk. That's like
Fisk got a Fisk.
Yeah, exactly. That's him not being himself, but being himself. The real him coming out. So yeah, episode 3 is there's also this thing going on just now where it's like the gangs that are working for Vanessa. So it's a lovely little nod as well back to Hawkeye, where we've got the Tracksuit Mafia, which is a gang in the comics, but they seem to be doing them a lot more serious. They were very much comedy characters in Hawkeye. So that's all kind of going on in the background, and it's Vanessa that seems to be kind of running that while Fisk is trying to give this idea that he is like he's a changed man, of course.
I'm a changed man.
Episode 3 for me is where they stepped up the court stuff.
The court scenes were very well done.
Yeah. Oh, I was at the edge of my seat watching that stuff. It was so good.
The only bit that I didn't like in the court scene was just Matt being a knobhead about White Tiger and like revealing evidence that he said he wouldn't and using it in court. I'm not saying it's a bad point in the show. I'm just like, Matt, come on, man. You should be better than this. Wasn't there like something in like either the Defenders or
and
Daredevil where he agonized over his secret identity being revealed?
There was a thing in She-Hulk where he is.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, there was a thing in She-Hulk where he's defending somebody, and it's basically you can't reveal someone's secret identity because it puts them in harm's way. And obviously that he said at the start of this, I think it was in episode 2, where he was like, "Oh, we can't use the fact that he's White Tiger because that's going to put him in danger." Which ultimately,
I would argue, it does directly get him murdered for that.
Like,
actually,
he does and he doesn't.
Now that I think about it, I'm like, not very clever, Matt, because he does get murdered straight after it.
But again, this is him believing that the system will work. He's using things to get him off in the right way, and he says to White Tiger, he's like, you can't do this ever again. This is it. Like, you're either choosing jail, or this is the only chance you get for me to get you free.
Sorry, how does he get White Tiger off?
How does he get what? Sorry.
How does he get him off?
How does he get him
White
off?
Tiger off.
He ties him up in a cage and sends him to a lovely big bald man that eats dinner in front of him. But yeah, like, to me, he's made the mistake, and he's like, that's why in episode 4 when his niece comes up and he's like, someone has to find out what this is, and he goes, that he's kind of speaking to himself again. He's like, that someone's gonna have to be me, because the fact that there's all these lovely moments as well with him and the cop, where he's like I love the fact that he's sitting kind of almost trash talking the cop, and he's like, well, what, you going to tell him a blind guy beat you up? Like, what nobody will believe you, kind of thing. That dynamic between those two characters is fantastic. But the thing that's also getting into real life is we're seeing these corrupt cops, one of them with the Punisher symbol tattooed on his neck. Now this is to speak towards real life, where there's actual cops that have got that symbol on their, like, whether it's their gear or they've got it tattooed or whatever. And people, comic creators, John Bernthal, have come out and said, you're fucking idiots, because you're not standing for you're misinterpreting what this is supposed to mean and what this is supposed to be and who this character is and stuff. But in terms of the show,
I was just thinking he was a Cody Rhodes fan.
No. John Cena all the way. But let's not bore Craig.
Ooh, really? You want to go back to that?
I know.
Back in the villain here. Come on, man.
So yeah, like, so that again, the episode 3 is very much about the courtroom stuff. It's done so well. Charlie Cox's performance is great. And again, I'm getting to the point as well where I still don't know. They're giving their ending arguments, and I'm going, I don't know if he's going to get off with this. So the fact that I cared tells me that they were doing it right. No?
Andrew caring about a court scene. I mean, like that speaks to the writing. It speaks. It speaks to his soul.
Oh, it's so bizarre that he's backing me up, man. Honest to God.
It does feel weird, doesn't it? It feels like a bit.
It
feels like he's lulling you into a false sense of security.
Right, let's now focus on this week's episode. So this is the one that's just happened the last couple of days. We see again more therapy between Fisk and Vanessa. And again, it's still this even thing between, like, I don't know where we sit between those two, because she seems to be she's got her gang stuff going on, and he's like, don't do that. I'm trying to do it properly. He's still kind of doing what he's doing, so I'm going. And then even the way that the therapist was like to her, "Are you okay? Are you safe?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." But then she's kind of says to Fisk, like, "Am I safe?" And it's
or should I feel
or
safe?
should I feel safe? Yeah.
Like, there's some really nice writing between them, and the thing that is kind of weird. I don't know if anyone else kind of felt like that was there was bits of it that almost like was written like a comedy in like their responses to like some of the therapist questions, like how quickly they answered and stuff. I think maybe it just wasn't landing for me, or maybe I was tuning out too much. I'm just, funnily enough, I'm not that interested in Fisk's home life.
Joseph Boone hates therapy. That's the headline. That's what I'm saying.
I don't hate therapy.
I'm kind of with Boone in the sense of, like, that stuff does. But I'm going to, if it leads to something, I can see myself becoming interested.
Hey, I've been backing you up. So come on now. Time to pay the piper.
Remember, Andrew.
I am not going against my principles with this shit. Like, relationship stuff and these shows is like
this is the gripping part of the show. Like, will they stay together?
One of the things that I enjoyed about this 4th episode was when Michael Gandolfini fucks up, and it's that whole moment of, oh shit, I'm now going to have to tell my boss, the guy that we're all ignoring is a criminal, who has definitely killed people using car doors. I'm going to have to tell him that I fucked up and could have jeopardized something. And that whole scene where, like, Fisk kind of like brings him forward and is like essentially grilling him, I didn't know where that was going to go. It felt out of the ordinary for something with that big Disney logo on it. I couldn't really tell where it was going, and the way it diffused spoke to how Fisk is trying to be a changed man, a different man. It felt very similar in uncertainty to one of my favourite scenes in the first season of Netflix Daredevil, which is when Karen Page is sitting in that room with Wesley, and she ends up killing him.
Wesley.
How good was Wesley?
He was
I
great.
loved Wesley.
And I hate new Wesley, whoever the fuck he's supposed to be. Fucking English boy.
Wesley
I hate
3,
new Wesley.
whatever
like,
he
actor's
is,
doing
yeah.
a great job. He's you're brilliant and talent. Well done for getting this job, but like fuck this character, man. I don't like him. Where's Wesley? No ma Wesley. Quite frankly, I'll say. That's but like, bar that the therapy scenes, could take him or leave him. Him eating a big old Subway sandwich from somewhere, that's all right.
How did you feel about him eating sausage and pasta?
It was a weird combo, but then again,
If it's a gluten-free pasta, I'm game. Yeah. Bring it on.
Correct, me too.
This may shock some of the listeners. So I am gluten-free, and not only am I gluten-free, my sphere of gluten-freeness has started to encapsulate other people in it. It's
I thought
caught
he was going.
in the gluten-free web.
I thought he was going to go for another word, and it was a lot more south of sphere.
after gluten, does expand.
Exactly.
A gluten sphincter.
So yeah, we've kind of spoke about a lot of the stuff. We talked about John Berenthal, and we talked about the interaction between Daredevil and the guy that he was counselling for, or lawyering for, essentially. But the thing about this episode that I loved the most was the end in the last 5 minutes, where you get the mirror image of both Fisk going down to his basement and Daredevil going up to his roof, both kind of crossing back to where we want them and where they should be. Fisk being the villain, Daredevil looking at all these cowls, so fucking cool. And then he pulls out his nunchuck type things and starts practicing and stuff like that. So we're obviously heading into the direction that Daredevil's going to get the suit back on, and Fisk is going to back to being the villain that we know him to be.
Or is that what you took from that?
Yeah, that's what I took from it.
I just thought they were walking on
You
stairs.
thought what?
I just thought they were walking on stairs. That was all.
Oh, completely wrong. Paul, don't be on my side again, man. Don't be on my side.
It was
you nonsense.
I liked the Fisk descending down into that basement. I was like, why is he having his tea down there? That's a bit strange. And then of course he's got the man in the cage and all that. The thing I did like was the big painting with the blood on it.
Yeah,
being there. One of
the painting.
best scenes in season 3.
The painting.
Fantastic. It's one of the few times I've actually been actually excited about a callback, because it's such a great callback.
So this leads me to my closing statement. On the case of the story, I think the story's great. I think the story is going somewhere. I think there's a lovely underlying plot that you guys clearly have no interest in, but to me, I can't understand why. The tone of this is exactly what I want it to be. It's where it should be. It's not only combining what we got from Netflix, but it's giving it a bit of an MCU shine, which I like. And again, I want Daredevil to feel like it's part of the MCU going forward. The characters that they have not only introduced. Oh, wait a minute! Closing statement. I've not spoken about Muse. The character design of Muse is fucking terrifying.
Oh, the cheap knockoff
Scarecrow.
Deadpool, yeah.
No, not Deadpool, Scarecrow.
He just looks like Deadpool to me, like a shit Deadpool.
It's all the same. It's all the same fucking people that done the comics. In terms of what he looks like in the comics to what he is in this, he's fantastic. We got a little tease. I think it was in episode 3 of who it is that is actually Muse. But the stuff that we got in episode 4, where he's just carrying unconscious, if not dead, bodies to in the railway or down in the subway, wherever it is that he's mutilating them. I think the mask, I think the design of the mask is brilliant. I think
he's an
artist. I don't know. I just like it. I think it's so fucking. Again, it fits the tone for me. It fits this darker, more sinister characters that we're seeing now.
It's dark and creepy and it's cool, but for me, the mask pulled me out of it. It was like, the guy's unconscious. He's not living. Why are you hiding your face?
I got more of a taskmaster vibe from it than Deadpool.
Who's Taskmaster again?
Not the MCU one, the proper one, but
Greg Davies.
Ray Winston's daughter.
Greg Davies.
But
yeah. Listen
me-
here, you little shit. I'm the headmaster.
Oh, there's Michael
of
Caine
this.
back. There's Michael Caine back.
Hey,
yes, we couldn't
remember,
wait.
remember.
No, he doesn't say member.
That's
He's not a
that.
4-year-old.
That is how Gandolfini spoke to Fisk in this. It was like, "Hello, what can you explain? What the leak is?" And he's like, "Hey, boss, remember, there's a leak here. There's a leak here in our organization. Remember, there's a leak."
So it's long overdue that Michael Caine was in the MCU. But yeah, I loved Muse. I like the character. I'm excited to see. I think they're going to be the big bad going forward, who ultimately is going to have to try and figure out who it is. And yeah, I like it. I think the character design's fantastic. But yeah, in terms of the tone, I think it's a win. The characters that they've now introduced, even the White Tiger being like not one and done, two and done. I like that. Reintroducing Fisk, Vanessa, they seem to have a fresh take on them. Charlie Cox is fantastic as Daredevil. The MCU tie-ins are great. The music's great. The set design's great. The callbacks I've really enjoyed to previous series and to previous stuff that's happened in the MCU. And in terms of like where we're going in the future, I think it's if we are getting this level of TV, if we get a Blade movie, again that's in fucking with the amount by the time they fucking announced it and stuff, but if it means we're going to get more mature content for the MCU, I'm all for it. I'm not going to tell you are wrong. I can say your takes are smelly, but I just don't see how you can be so, especially the fact that Paul's fucking this positive about it. I can't see where you two guys are sitting.
I don't know.
It's taken me.
Like I don't know
it might be.
why. Like you guys were into Loki and stuff when this is like this is so much more compelling. Like I just can't fathom it.
I really like Loki. Loki's a different genre of TV to me, but in terms of like anything like Winter Soldier and all that kind of stuff, this is
Did you like
leaps and bounds ahead.
Did you like the scene where he got infinitely kicked in the nuts? I really like that scene. That was Loki.
Which scene was that?
That was Loki.
Oh
was
yeah,
I'm being
yeah,
facetious.
Yeah. No, I remember what you're talking about. Lady Sif. Lady Sif.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, when I say Winter Soldier, I don't mean the movie. I mean Falcon Winter Soldier. Yeah, to me, it's. I'm so enjoying it, and I can't understand why. And again, like I feel as if the audience and the reviews that I'm seeing, everybody seems to be in my boat. And it's taken me an hour. It's taken me an hour.
Negative reviews.
Yeah, but it's taken me an hour. Yeah, but you if you're what's it called? If your Instagram or your TikTok algorithm, whatever it is, if you're putting out negativity, they're going to give you fucking negativity.
Instagram.
Big negative Joseph.
Well, where else are you seeing it?
On fucking review sites like Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, places like that.
And it's taken me over an hour. It's taken me over an hour to have a dig. But the fact that you say that this fucking plot is incoherent and doesn't make sense, and you are watching fucking
we've not said
there's
it's
no
incoherent or doesn't make sense. It's just slow.
There is no room
It's like
for your negativity here, Joseph. I will not stand for it. There is no room for that here. Okay?
I agree.
You are a brother
Joseph.
to me, Paul Stirrett.
You
You are a brother to me.
A brother? A brother? You've stabbed Wilson Fisk in the heart. That's what you've done.
So it's like the plot is, so you are right, the plot is going somewhere, but it's the difference between going somewhere and say, like, I don't know, a good Aston Martin firing down the M8 or going there in a Vauxhall Corsa. It could be going faster. It could be running smoother.
4 episodes in and you're talking about faster? You fucking love this Severance show, and I defy you to tell me what's fucking going on in it.
On the
You wait
goats.
3
The
series,
goats don't
3 years between series to tell me that we don't really know what's actually happening. We're just kind of waiting to see. There's a lot of conjecture about what people think is happening. You don't know what's happening. And I get that I'm in the fucking minority for that, and I'm probably just too thick to understand. But I've asked you plenty of times while on the review what's actually happening here, and you couldn't give me a fucking coherent explanation.
Andrew, right. On terms of Severance, right, I've got a mate who categorically enjoys nothing. A fantastic review. No, it's not Paul. A great review from him is him saying, "Oh, it was fine." He's really enjoying Severance, and we had to check and see if he was doing okay.
Sorry, wait a minute. But your proof is, my friend that hates everything likes this nonsense. Nonsense.
So you are such in the minority.
Good. I'm happily fucking being in the minority.
So why can't I be in the minority about Daredevil?
You can, but I'm just trying to, from one friend to another, understand how you can say that there's something that there's no plot to this when I'm like, I watched a man throw a fucking trifle party. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I'm saying the plot is slow.
It's fucking not, man. Like,
and what I am saying is we have always been a very positive review channel, and I will not stand for your negativity. I will not stand for this. Do you understand?
Right.
So
we're over an hour now. We've spoken about 4 episodes. Where do you lot stand? I'm talking to you, lovely listeners and watchers. Where do you lot stand? Are you in team positive with me and Paul, or are you in team fucking smelly takes with Craig and Joseph? Yes, Craig, you're not as smelly as Joseph, but you're still in the smelly take crew, because I don't get where you're coming from. I love how if you haven't noticed, Craig's got a wee bit of a boo-boo throat, right? He doesn't want to talk as much, but how irate he got when I started slaying Severance. He was so angry, and I love it. Let us know in the comment section, how are you feeling about Daredevil? Are you as positive on it as myself and Paul? Are you kind of middle of the ground? Are you not feeling it? What are you thinking, and what are your predictions for the next few episodes? I think it's 9 episodes, so we've got 5 more to go, but there's 2 episodes dropping next week. We've got episode 5 and episode 6, so we will be back reviewing them next week. We are going to be much more, now Severance has come to an end, we've got a wee bit more time where we can get these done. The catch up will be out on Monday afternoon, Monday morning, so make sure you keep your eyes and ears peeled to our socials for that. The Severance episode will be out over the weekend as well, the finale.
Yep.
Have you got, what day is today? Thursday? It's out tomorrow?
It's out tomorrow.
It's out tomorrow, yeah, so have fun with that, I guess.
You excited? You excited, Andrew?
It's gonna be fucking brilliant. It's gonna be
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to them going 10 out of 10. It's a fucking great episode. It's brilliant. What happened? I don't know.
You're getting
fucking
answers.
Nothing happened.
We're getting answers.
You're getting no, you're not. Like, this is the best thing. No, you're not.
You've missed the episodes where things actually have happened, but hey, I'm gonna save my voice.
Right, it's
for the Severance episode.
It's because he can't stop thinking about the goats. He can't stop thinking
no, it's not. I
about
know about the goats. Craig has said to me on multiple occasions, if you weren't out when you were out, you'd be out now. So if you tell me that there was fucking episodes after the episode where I gave up that were worse than the episodes I gave up on, tells me everything I need to know about Severance.
Not worse, just not your
incoherent,
thing.
Fine. Incoherent, not knowing what the fuck's happening. Either way, we will be here. The boys will be here talking about Severance. We'll be back to talk about Daredevil. Last of Us coming up in April. We've got Andor in April, so there's lots of stuff coming to the With Mates podcast. We want to say a huge thank you to all you lovely listeners and viewers. We are at over 80 hours the last we checked on YouTube. We're getting lots of listens on Spotify and Apple, so thank you very much. All we will ask now is hit the subscribe button. We want to get as many subscribers to our YouTube channel as possible. So if you've not done so already, head on over to YouTube, hit subscribe, comment, interact with us, get in the conversation. If you bring up a really good point, we will bring it up on the podcast and we will address it. And as I says, Steph, come at me anytime, motherfucker. Whatever you like, don't like, I am more than happy to have you make memes about me as much as possible. I love Steph. We've got a couple of movies.
So funny.
I love Steph. Steph's so good. Yeah. We've got some movies coming out. Novocaine, we're going to try and see. Black Bag, we're going to try and see. We'll probably either do full reviews on them or we'll be talking about them on the catch-up. But that's all for us this week. We'll be back next week with more Daredevil. Joseph, where can the people find you and all that you do?
Lovely people can find me producing more smelly takes, apparently, on both my Twitter and Instagram page, at Joseph Boone with an F, on both of those platforms.
Paul, where can lovely people find you?
Find me at the Beacon of Positivity, that is my Instagram, and which is at Stirrit Story.
Craig?
and you can find me still reeling from what the fuck has just happened in this episode with Paul. It's at Craig Andrew Mooney on all social media platforms.
And if you want to follow me, I'm at @AlphaGray on all social media platforms. But more importantly, follow the podcast at WithMatesPod on all social media platforms. Get us WithMate Podcast on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Hit the notifications bells if you want to know when our next episode drops. But yeah, that's all for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Latest on the Meiji.
Remember, I am the ill intent.
Paul, are you okay?